of your need according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus. And then he told me this. This what sealed the deal. He said, now I want you to praise me as if more than enough has already arrived. That's faith. You don't see it, but I smelled it. I didn't see it, but I could taste it. I didn't see it, but I desired it. I didn't see it, but I wanted it. I didn't see it, but it was a desire in my heart for change, for God to change things. And he did. More than enough began to flow into my life. And it will yours when you change the words coming out of your mouth. 99 reasons to speak life into your life. I'll give it to you free of charge. Give me a call, 716-906-0375.
Serving Orchard Park, Lackawanna, Cheektowaga, Amherst, Buffalo. We are the legendary Mix 1080, WUFO, and Power 96.5.
Buffalo, you know what time it is. It is 7 o'clock, and it's time for you to get informed and educated on what's going on in the Buffalo Public School System with We Are the Parent with my man, Sam Ranford, on the all-new sound of Buffalo. It's Power 96.5 and Mix 1080 WUFO.
Man, D, I love my theme music, man. I love that music. But you know, D, it's Thursday night, and if it's Thursday night, it's 6 o'clock. What is it, D?
It's We the Parent
It's
night.
We the Parents, y'all. Y'all know it's another week of We the Parents, and I get excited whenever I hear that theme music. And I get excited because of what we do at We the Parents, y'all. I mean, we are committed to being with you every week, partnering with you, making sure that whatever we need to do for our children, we are doing it for our children, individually and collectively, to make sure all of our children are able to meet the challenges that we face in education today. We are here every Thursday night, 6 and 7 o'clock. This show is live. And it's a call-in show. If you want to call us, you can call us at 837-1112, 837-1112, here at the legendary WUFO since 1961. Our voice, our truth. And we are being produced by...
Hello, everyone. This is Emmanuel. If you want to watch the show, you can go to the Samuel Radford page. You click on it, say We the Parents. Also, if you know somebody who doesn't have Facebook and you want them to still view the show, you can go to YouTube and the Samuel Radford page, and you can tune in. Drop your questions, your comments, and we'll get you into the show.
All right, so it feel good. I was under the weather for the first couple of days this week. I've been out the house for 2 days. I'm just happy to be out the house. So I'm excited about the opportunity to really talk with you and really talk about and let me say it this way. Last week, literally, we've been doing We the Parents for a little over 2 years now. It'll be 2 years in February, right? And we have some great guests on there. We definitely have some great guests. But, our guest last week, in terms of what he is doing, what his experience is, he's clearly one of the best guests we've ever had. And I'm so excited that he agreed to come back because he really has something to offer us as a community. So I want you to do this. This is a real important topic that we're going to be talking about. So if you know anybody right now who have children who are in remote instruction, or even if they're in hybrid instruction, and they don't got nobody supervising them, or they're having challenges with hybrid instruction and they need help, you need to call them right now and tell them to turn on WUFO. You need to call them right now or share this link with them. Tell them, for the next hour, there are going to be solutions to the challenges that they face. And that's really what I'm excited about today. Sometimes we get on here and we focus on, some of the challenges that we are facing, and we sometimes have solutions and sometimes we have plans. But in this particular case, we really have solid solutions. Let me introduce our guest from last week, Pastor Larry Donaldson. How you doing today, Pastor Donaldson?
What's going on, Sam? How you feel, man?
Oh, brother, I'm feeling good, man.
Good, me too, man.
You said, how's the day going?
Day is going fantastic, man. We up and running. The Virtual Support Learning Centers are up and running. We got some fantastic news today, but I'm feeling good, man. Listen, I have this saying, and I always share this saying with Brother Merriweather, the photographer. I said, I'm on top of the world, but I'm only up here so I can help somebody else get up here.
Hey, man.
That's it. I feel like I'm on top of the world. and my job is to try to bring as many other people to the top as I can.
And brother, and listen to me. I've been watching what your work is, and you definitely have made a commitment to doing that. And I'm going to introduce our other co-host here. Brother Duncan is here. But what I want to do is make sure when we were putting together a commercial because we wanted to advertise the show to make sure people knew that.
Right.
And so we were looking for some spaces, some good shots for the commercial. And what we observed is that we didn't give you enough time to really just elaborate on what you are doing. So what we're going to do is make sure today you have the time to elaborate on all the parts of what you have been able to successfully do. If you're out there and you're listening, you got a question, you can call at 837-1112 with your question. Duncan, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How y'all doing?
We could not be doing better. It's a great day to be alive. But what we want to do now, Pastor Dawson, first of all, you shared last week that you didn't just this idea of a learning pod, a virtual learning support center, that just didn't come out of space. That actually was a pilot project put together. So why don't you give people a how we got here before we talk about what here is?
And I appreciate the opportunity because it has come up, with so much media presence on who's not prepared. We didn't get coverage for who was prepared. Mm-hmm. Sam Duncan, we piloted a program in July, specifically designed to meet the needs of students today. How it came about is, both myself and my wife, like you gentlemen, we have educated wives at home. So when the shutdown happened on March 17th and our kids had to come home for virtual instruction, we were there. We were able to be with them. Mm-hmm. We had adequate internet service. We had a tag team concept. I would work, she would work. She would work with the kids. I would work with the kids. So we had this concept. We quadrant our house off so our children could be successful, because we know in virtual learning it's not so much about the parents' interaction with the child. It's the child's ability to have interactions with that virtual learning.
Yes, sir.
So distractions. So we would put we made offices in our home for our children to be able to do schoolwork. Mm-hmm. No toys, no video games, no nothing. All they had was that electronic device, a chair, and whatever work that they had to do. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yes, sir.
So we looked at this formula, myself and my wife, and we're both.
And that's advice you would give to parents. You got to set your house up.
You got to set your house up for success. We look at Facebook and we see all the videos, like the one that went viral, a little boy who was preaching, who was working right. Too many distractions. Yes. Again, coming from my pedagogy and education, the first rule of thumb is classroom management. If the classroom is being moved to home, now it has to become home management. And when parents hear that, we don't want parents to be put off, but you can't manage your home in the same manner as your child is trying to learn virtually. You got to give them that quiet space, but you got to give that quiet space with supervision.
Right.
You got to make sure that there are no distractions, but you also have to make sure that you're monitoring what they're doing.
So first up, parents, if you haven't done that, if your children are learning at the kitchen table and you haven't made that like a space that kids can learn in, or if you haven't made a space that there's a learning space, step one is to make a space for learning in your house.
You just said in the kitchen. Huge mistake.
Uh-oh.
Sensory skills.
Okay.
Kitchen has the aroma of food.
Okay.
That's a distraction.
So what about the bedroom?
And so that now you're leading to the pilot. We know that everybody doesn't have that option or opportunity to quadrant their house off like that.
Right.
We know that. We know that, in the normal, they call a medium income family in Buffalo, New York, we know that people don't have that space.
Right, and this is the third poorest city in the country. I mean, the reality is
that's
we're
reality.
Dealing with. That's what we're dealing with.
That's what we're dealing with. So again, you have to set it up for success. So what we did, like I said, quadrant the house off, give them a quiet space. This is if you absolutely want to keep your kids at home. If you absolutely have to keep them at home. Set them up for success. Know their schedule as well as they should know their schedule. Okay? And you get to that point. Like I said, when you got a teamwork, and we know on top of that, a lot of parents are doing this alone, because we're finding out in our enrollment process, it's not only single mothers out there no more, it's single fathers out there.
Oh, wow.
It's
Okay.
grandparents,
That's true.
aunts, uncles. There's so many. So we had to change our application, say not just parents, but guardians, caretakers. There's so many people out there from such a wide, diverse population or demographic of people who are caring for students who have to do this virtual learning. So, we did this
Let me
thing.
go to your point what you said about knowing their schedule, because I was helping my grandsons for a while, and I realized how important it is that I just can't sit there and watch them do it. I have to know their schedule, just like they know their schedule, and I have to know when the teacher is going to be live and when they're going to be having a test and when the assignments are due. All that's right there for you to see, but I got to know it, just not to just let them tell me.
You got to know it. You have to be invested. And for some of our parents and caretakers of our school children, it's hard for them to be vested into this process because they have other things going on.
That's right.
Work, life, bills, not work. Because a lot of people say, well, you got this program for working people, and that's why I appreciate the fact that Mark Poloncarz, the county executive, changed it and said, listen, we know that there's challenges for working families, but we know that there's also challenges for families who are not working.
That's right.
That's a huge challenge.
That's right.
That's a stressor.
So
how can you de-stress a child that's in a stressful situation if you have all this stress on you? So we get closer and closer to July. So, my kids successfully completed their school year because their school didn't care what the governor said. You had to finish your work in order to go to the next grade.
Okay.
They wasn't doing that. And we watched that model. And, we engaged with the teachers. We had open lines of communication with the teachers. So in June, now in the process in March, I was deemed an essential worker. My child development centers had to remain open for essential workers who kids had to come there. So we didn't just want the kids to be there. We wanted to, because we're a curriculum-based child development center. We're not a daycare. No offense to daycares, because we need daycares.
But don't go past that too fast, right? Because that's going to be a big part of the solution that you're talking about. What's a curriculum-based child development center versus a daycare?
A daycare is somewhere where your kids are watched to keep them safe and out of harm's way.
Okay.
Curriculum-based is when there's academic rigor twisted with that. So we want a safe, loving environment for our children, but we do the developmental stages of kids from 6 weeks all the way up to 13 years old. We look at the developmental stage. Where should they be? We've been doing for the last 10 years a summer program called Project Catch Up, because we know about our students falling behind. We know about the challenges our students fall behind. So we call it Project Catch Up. So our summer camp, kids hate to come to our summer camp. Parents love our summer camp because our summer camp is all academic based. They do get recreation. They do get outside time, but they're in books all summer long. We've been doing that for 10 years.
Wow.
Parents have come back to us year after year and said, no offense, our kids learn more in your summer program than they do in school all the year long.
Wow, that's a huge indictment as well as compliment.
Because everything in a child development curriculum, it's student centered. Mm-hmm. It's centered towards the student. So if a student comes to us in fourth grade, we can't naturally assume that they're on fourth grade levels. We test the student to see what levels they are. We set up a plan for that student to get them to the levels where they need to be. Some of them have deficiency, some of them don't. But again, we're not lumping kids in. We're not putting kids, 8-year-olds with 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds with 10-year-olds. What we're actually doing is we're building an environment where kids can get the things that they did not get during the course of the natural school year.
So if you got a second grade level and you're in fourth grade, you with the second graders catching up before you go to the fourth grade.
Exactly.
Level. Okay.
You got it's mastery. We talked about that last week. It's steps. You can't skip steps. Just because I'm a fourth grader is 9 years old. Just because I'm 9 years old and I'm in the fourth grade doesn't mean my cognitive thought is at a 9-year-old fourth grade level. Maybe I have to do something to increase that. Maybe I have to do something to engage them and encourage them that, listen, don't worry about where you at. Think about where you can be.
And you doing this in a child development program.
We're doing this in the child development program. Wow. We've been doing this for 15 years in child development program. And, like I said, we progressively have increased. So we got to the point where we had to stay open because of essential workers. And, what our essential workers love is because, during that time, their kids have virtual work. So we were doing the virtual work as a child development center. We had to socially distance. We had to follow the science. Remember, people, the science is important. Stop listening to people rhetoric. Listen to the science. Rhetoric will lead you to be wrecked. Listen to the science. Science will lead you to be successful.
Amen.
So we built this scientific model, socially distanced, and we found out, because everybody said, well, it's easy for you, Mr. Downson, pastor, whatever they want to call me. They said it's easy for you because the kids listen to you. So what happens? What happened in a situation with the kids listening to me? What I said, I used to tell my staff, put me on a Zoom. Whatever class kids were in with my staff, put me on a Zoom. So I'm on the Zoom with them, right?
Okay.
And the kids are listening to me. My staff is directing them. Pay attention, listen. I'm engaging the kids on the Zoom because I had to work from home. I had to be with my kids, but my staff was still on site.
Right.
But I would engage students, put them on a video call.
Gotcha.
Put them on the iPhone. Let me FaceTime you. So I said, wow, that's a great concept. So then we came to one of our partners, Reach Academy Charter School, which I'm proud to say they've been one of our partners. We're the only school-based child development center in the city of Buffalo. We have our own suite, our own wing at Reach Academy Charter School, 115 Ash Street. Went to the administration there. They said we have second and third graders who went home and they did absolutely no work. So I said, I got a plan. And she said, let me hear your plan. And we put her plan with our plan. So we merged education because schools couldn't be open, but I expanded and extended under the direction of OCFS my daycare license, where I was able to absorb 120 school-age children in my daycare facility.
So being clear, so school couldn't be open, but child care could be open.
Child care could be open in the school.
In the school, wow, okay.
Because at that address, we're a licensed child care provider.
Right.
So we kind of beat the system.
Now, was that just for essential workers, or it could be open?
No, this was for the students who went home from Reach who hadn't completed any work.
Got you. So,
for whatever reason.
So you targeted a specific group of students.
We targeted a specific group of students in order to build the data that they needed, because that's a very crucial age, that second and third grade year, going into that fourth and fifth grade year.
Yeah, actually, I was going to say that earlier when you talked about just the whole child development model, because now with the Common Core, you can't have kids in pre-K just sitting around not learning how to learn the basic skills, because if they get to kindergarten, they don't know certain fundamentals, they already behind, because kids are starting to learn how to read in kindergarten. If you just now learning your letters in kindergarten, you already behind.
That's why curriculum is so important. And we follow that model. And again, great models that we looked at, you know, the Head Starts that are around the city. We looked at their models. Being in education myself, having a minor in curriculum building, we looked at the models that were successful. But we look at the models that's successful for our children, for our circumstance, our social demographic, our target audience. Because you could take something in Clarence and Williamsville and Amherst and it won't work in Buffalo.
Right.
It just won't.
Right.
Because there's different obstacles.
That's right.
So you have to look at not only the student, but you have to look at the obstacles that surrounding the student.
Context. I mean, context is important.
It's
huge.
huge.
You can't just pretend like everything works in every context. I mean, you got a different demographic of students that live in a different reality. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to set up according to the context that they're in.
So we brought these 120 students in. They met my staff. My staff engaged. We had 3 days of just engagement. We had 3 days where our staff built relationship. They learned their names. We had 3 days with just engagement. Then slowly.
Hold up. Can I jump in right there? That sounds incredible. That is like literally a best practice across the country, where when you bring in new to build relationships.
You got to build relationships.
Before you even start the learning, all you do is you commit to building those relationships. I don't understand. I don't want to get off topic. Okay?
No, go ahead.
I don't understand why that's not happening in every school, in everywhere students learn from all levels, whether it's college, high school, elementary school. Like, I don't understand. Like, we know that works. Why isn't it's frustrating to me that, like, if we have 100%, we know this sets up people for success, but we're not doing it. You know what I mean? But it's just good. When I heard it, I'm like, yeah, they do that. It's like a village gathering they almost do, where they, celebrate each other and build bonds and relationships.
You know what, Duncan? I'm glad. This is why we always get off track. I'm glad you brought that up, because this is what happens. You know where I got that from? Silicon Valley.
Oh, really? Do tell.
Tech companies in Silicon Valley, when they hire you, you don't go to work. You go to team building.
Yeah, it's like onboarding.
It's like onboarding.
Wow.
You relationship build.
Yeah.
You spend quality, intimate time with your supervisors, with your peers, with your coworkers, and you fortify a team.
I did that for 2 weeks for this job. I just did my newest job. I do the national work around advocacy with paid leave, and the first 2 weeks, the only thing I did was have one-to-one meetings with every member of the staff. 30 minutes to an hour. All we did was talk. Get to know each other. I'm sorry. I just love to hear you talk about it. You talking my language.
Because it facilitates an environment. Again, classroom management. I go back to my Buff State training. I'm a product of Buffalo Public Schools. Went to Leonardo da Vinci. Went to ECC as a returning student, as an older student. When I got to Buff State, the first thing I learned as far as education is, in order for learning to occur, you have to have an environment that's conducive to learning.
Wow.
That's the first sentence I read in the book.
Real.
And when I read that book as a junior in college, I was about 30 years old. As a junior in college, when I read that first sentence in that book, I said, I have to, no matter how good I am at knowing history, dates, I have to have an environment where learning can occur.
You tempted me to jump in, and I'm not going to do it. I'm restraining myself so you can get to you.
We started this project. First 3 days, I told my staff, we gave it's like Monopoly money. It's called Scholar Dollars. This is Reach.
Mm-hmm.
This is out of the box charter school. This is their model. This is their project. So they said they have this thing called Scholar Dollars that the students love, and I said, well, what can they earn? And they said, well, they can earn whatever you make the reward. So I said, give me all the Scholar Dollars you can.
Okay.
And I just sent my staff to Five Below. I said, go to Five Below. I'm not advertising for no big business, but I said, go to Five Below. I said, just buy stuff. And I said, don't buy stuff you would want the kids to have. Mm-hmm. I said, have a conversation with them. And matter of fact, they did a virtual shopping trip.
Wow.
To Five Below.
Okay.
I'm serious.
Yeah, okay.
My staff was in there on iPads, on these big screens, and they went into Five Below and they did a virtual shopping, and they saw what these kids want, and they rock. So the reward for the kid when they accomplished the work was something that they wanted already.
Wow. Okay.
Instead of us telling them what we gonna give you,
exactly,
we want to see what you gonna earn.
And by doing that, you building a culture of teamwork where they not just come into school and they hate it. They part of the learning. They part of the decision making.
Wow.
Man, when we had this reward room, we called it the reward room, where students, when they got a certain amount of Scholar Dollars, were able to go to reward room and pick stuff. It was like kids on Christmas, but it was all education based.
Yes, sir.
You couldn't get the reward room until you did your work.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So we doing this program, and so it's the hub. Reach became the hub. It was Reach Academy Charter School. It was Little Workers Child Development Center. We came together. We made it a hub. They provided transportation. They did all this great stuff. So we provided the pod. So in the pod, just to give you the picture, there's one adult that wears a mask the entire time that they're there. Okay. That wasn't a challenge because, again, my staff had already been accustomed to wearing masks. So the students wear masks only in high movement areas. Entering the building, exiting the building, going to the bathroom.
Also, when they actually in the pod, they don't wear a mask.
When they in the pod, they don't have to wear a mask
Okay.
because they're socially distanced,
Okay.
one. And then we went above and beyond any other virtual learning support system. We bought sneeze guards. Because I'm walking in Dollar Tree, I'm walking in Family Dollar, I'm walking all these places, and I see all these plastic. And I'm like, well, if they got all of these sneeze guards for adults, they got to have some for kids. So I immediately began ordering. I ordered, so everybody had their own personal protective space. Everybody was all set up. It was beautiful. 10 kids in the room. One teacher was able to do 3 classrooms at one time.
Okay.
Because the support from the scholar coaches, the coaches were mine. So the scholars, because we called all the students scholars, that's a Reach model. I can't take credit for that.
National best practice.
Yep. They call the students scholars. And I love that because I stole their language. Okay. So I said, well, if these are scholars, I'm going to call my employees scholar coaches.
All right.
Because they're not teachers.
Okay.
I didn't take them at first because they were teachers, but I saw that they had a passion to teach.
Okay.
But they didn't have the certification. So they were coaches. Because I started out long time ago, I was the head football coach of the Fruit Belt Rockets.
Okay.
And I had no formal training of being a head football coach. I played a little bit, but not that much. But I was made a coach. I was made a coach because I was able to connect to the kids.
Okay.
When I was able to connect to the kids, I'm learning as they're learning. I'm looking at videos, trying to find plays on videos, and then I'm telling them the same plays in the video. I was their coach. That's what our staff does. So in a pod, there's 10 students. Like I said, masks in high traffic areas. Anytime there's interaction, kids have to put their masks on. When they're comfortable in their socially distant space, they can take their masks off and they can engage in the work. One teacher could teach up to 3 classes at once because the teachers are engaging. But what the teachers found out is they love the fact that they could give indicators to my staff for students who weren't paying attention.
Okay.
Again, so the students are online and my staff is online. My staff is chatting with the teacher. The teacher is saying, I'm looking at this student in room 3 in seat 6, and they're not paying attention. And then my staff will go over and engage that student. Is everything okay? Do you need some help with everything? No, I'm okay. Pay attention. Okay. Student gets the work done.
Gotcha.
Strategically based. So we got these teachers now all around Buffalo on this virtual, and these kids who are interacting with them, but they're not communicating instantly with the people in the room.
So the teachers are virtual too.
The teachers are virtual.
So you got a teacher that's virtual, and you got the kids who are.
We were doing this in the summer.
Wow.
Before this was okay. You know, they went virtual in March.
Right.
But the support we offer enhanced what they did.
Right.
Because now there's someone physically in the place that could communicate with the teacher. See, even now while we're running our support centers, our staff are emailing teachers. And teachers are replying back, are you the parent? No, we're the virtual support staff. We're engaged in what can we do to help. They're instructed to do that. Here's the teacher's email address. Tell them who the student is. What can we do to help? Is there anything that we can do to help you make sure the student, that's their job.
This is in fact a parent's best friend right now.
This
is a parent's best friend right now.
So they're in there, and again, there's some recreation. There's a lot of time. But the biggest thing that we missed last week is socialization. Duncan brought that up because, again, he's in a position where his daughters can go do dance.
Right.
I'm in a position where my kids are still in music classes. My kids still sing in the church choir. They have interactions with other students. Some of these kids aren't getting interactions with students their age.
Right.
And it's such a detriment to them. Parents, I know you have the fear of the COVID, but I want you to fear more the end results of the COVID. When our children don't have cognitive recognition, when they don't have social interacting skills, when they've been so socially distanced that they become antisocial.
And we've been talking about that. We really been talking about that on this show, and that's the reason why I'm so excited about you being on here today, so parents can hear that there's a solution to that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you cannot become so secure. You know what I'm saying, for your children that you now make you solve one problem by making another problem.
Yep. So we took these students, we work with them in math, English, reading, and comprehension. And a lot of parents don't even know about comprehension, but that's actually a class that they teach at Reach Charter School. It's not just being able to read. Comprehension is understanding what you read. And a lot of times, parents fall short and understand, he can read, but does he or she understand what they just read?
That's right.
Can they articulate it? Because that's all state exams is.
That's right.
State exams are not reading. Our kids are not dumb. Our kids are intelligent. Once you decode the exam, that's why I had the success as a high school teacher. My director, while I was a high school teacher, heard the show last week. He called me. He said, "You always bragging about yourself." I said, "No, I'm bragging about the ability that you put me with the worst students and I still perform the best." That's what I'm bragging about. It wasn't that I did so great. I did great against the obstacles that you put me up against. So our students' comprehension is huge. So like I told you last week, 100% of the students that at least attended 80% of the program all were on grade level when they left. So those second and third graders that walked in with 5/8 of the program that they had missed from the previous school year came into our program, and in 5 weeks, they were at grade level, ready to go into the third and the fourth grade.
That's awesome.
It was phenomenal. So what I did is we made this plan. It's like I said, 120 students. We had 12 classrooms. We had 15 scholar coaches. We had support staff because they had to go in and give the scholar coaches air breaks, take the mask off, go get some air. We had outside activities, but other places were just doing summer camps. And this is honest. Nobody has this. Nobody has the documented data of what we did in the summer. Everybody else said, "Oh, well, we had kids." You had kids in the summer camp.
Right. And that's a really, that's a really important. I don't want to, cut you off, but that's a really important point to distinguish between people who have children and because even in some programs right now, you know what I'm saying? I'm hearing that, I'm literally watching people call parents and say, listen, where's your child? They're the program. You know what I'm saying? The program supposed to be making sure they on. And they ain't always on. And they ain't always paying attention. You know what I'm saying? So you're having a summer camp, it ain't the same as what you're talking about.
No.
I got two things I want to say, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
The first thing is, I don't want to jinx it, but in a way, your program might become the future of education, because it's actually better if you have one teacher and 20 kids, and then 3 coaches supporting those kids learning, help, homework, where now the teacher don't got to worry about discipline. The teacher don't got to worry about, do they understand? We got nonstop support for smaller groups of kids, so the teacher can focus on doing what they do best, which is teach. I think that, like, that could become actually a better model than let's send 30 students in a classroom where it's just they're having discipline, classroom management issues, all this stuff they bringing into the space, all of that, and no coaches. Go ahead.
Before you go to your next piece, right? And I promise you, in this second half of the show, we're gonna let them talk specifically about this program.
Question. That's my second question.
But listen, you got to come in 1 week, and we got to talk about just that, right? Why do we got to talk about just that? Because there is going to be a future for education. Right now, there are communities, particularly suburban communities, where they are in pod learning right now, and they're not going back to regular school. You know what I'm saying? They're actually now already lobbying for tax credits so they can get the money that they're spending on educating their children to come to them directly.
It's huge.
Because they understand that they're getting a better result. We're having 10 kids in a pod learning style that they can choose what 10 kids they have and who they with, and they are progressing along. This model is, in a lot of ways, going to be the future, and people who are proactive are thinking along these lines already. And I'm suggesting that parents, if you are listening, it makes sense for us to be in that conversation as well.
Yeah, listen, y'all want to talk about parent having power? I've been through that in Alabama, right? Where we have tax credit scholarships. So basically, think of it like this: if they did it here, the state gives $25,000 for each child to be educated. What some families are saying is, I want to do the pod learning. Give me $12,000 of that $25,000. They don't need to go to the building. I'll use that to put them in a pod, so they got a smaller group. They've got more support, more coaches, and they still getting the same instruction. I mean, I've watched a state go to that law, and what that does. I mean, it was black women crying.
But don't say same instruction. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the instruction is a marked increase in terms of improvement in instruction.
Well, I mean, they're learning.
Right, I understand.
From the teacher, and they're getting the support from the staff and the other teachers.
Right.
Y'all have everything together, and the model that it is, that I'm telling you, is in Buffalo. Unfortunately, we're system centered instead of student centered. Now, at SUNY Erie, hate to give a shameless plug to my job, but as SUNY Erie, I got to get that shameless plug, but I hate. So we kind of veered away and went to certification, because we found the value in certification, in getting people adequate opportunity to have gainful employment after 1 year, 2 semesters of school. So right now, and Duncan knows, because he spearheaded this with Northland, and we were partners with them, and we have been doing it. We offer 2 semesters of a certification for CNC precision machining, for mechatronics. These jobs start at $40,000 a year.
Wow. And this ain't no even degree involved.
It's not a degree, certification.
They not
so
just,
to his point.
Go ahead.
To his point, we got this huge $1 billion budget in the city of Buffalo, and all of these teachers who have so much built up time that they don't even have to teach during the school year. You got teachers with 40 and 50 weeks of vacation.
Yeah.
And they don't even have to teach during the school
And don't
year.
talk about the $75 million we spend on retiree health care.
No, let me get to my second question.
Go ahead.
You started this week.
We started this week.
Can you? How many kids? How did it go? What's it going?
It's going good, and that's why I'm glad you guys had me back. It's going excellent. All 7 of our sites are open. Exciting news. Say Yes just approved us for 2 more sites.
All right.
We're at about 40% capacity, so there's still room. There's still time. And again, that's why I'm grateful to you gentlemen for having me back, and the parents for having me back, because there's still a fear in our community. And I just want to ask this question to you. How can you have a fear in the community of your child getting a sound education in a COVID-maintained environment? And the reason I say COVID-maintained is because none of us have the ability to stop it, but we can minimize it. It's like the old Michael Jordan rule. You know, you're never going to stop him, but just try to hold him down.
Right.
Don't let him score 60. Don't let him score 70.
Right.
You know, we have so many guidelines. If you go to our webpage, we have so many guidelines in place. We vocationally trained about 15 people to be COVID-19 certified cleaners. We lost a few of them this past week because they decided to venture out on their own, which we have a problem. But as quick as we lost them, we replaced them.
Okay.
Because there's people out here saying now that it's happening, what can we do? And what we can do now is spread the word. We need the parents to spread the word. We need friends and family. I mean, first day, like I said, you know, we have a few kids at each site, but it ramped up, and then it ramped up. And when parents come in, so that's what we're having, open houses tomorrow. Okay. We're allowing parents to come in. You have to call the number on the flyer, call the number on our webpage, and set up a visit, because you can't just pop up. But you have to be asked the questions, be presented the guidelines. But you could come see how our environment is maintained. You can
if
come
you're see. Listening on the radio, the webpage is ccpbuffalo.org. And I know if you're watching on Facebook, you see it at the top of the screen there. But if you're listening on the radio, go to CCP, that's Community Cares Program, buffalo.org, and you'll be able to get that.
Yep, you'll be able to come in. You'll be able to see the COVID-19 EPA cleaning supplies that we use. And like I told you last week, schools were talking about 1 day of deep cleaning. We do deep cleaning at our sites every day.
Wow.
Every day. There's deep cleaning done. Every switch, every seat, every table, every pole, everything that's touched by a person is COVID clean.
But you got 40% in 1 week. You just opened in one. I mean. So that's. Clearly, parents, don't be the parent who need it and didn't. You waited till too late, and your children need it and you don't get it. So the best way you're gonna get the word out is word of mouth, and a successful a parent who is successfully using it is your best advertisement. They're gonna let other people know. Yeah. Good news travel quick, right? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So parents, if you are listening, that you can go. They can go to the website. Is there a number they can call?
Or let me give you the number. Let me give you the number.
So we're gonna post the flyer up too, so you can see all the sites. What are the locations? And so what are you post up the flyer so that it has all. Well, it's only 7 locations on here, and you could just tell us what the other 2.
We'll tell you what the other 2 is. Okay. The phone number to Community Cares is 716-447-5872. Again, 716-447-5872. I'm getting old, so I can't remember numbers as much as I used to. So I had to look up my own business phone number because, like I said, it's a new business, and we need the momentum. Because again, I gotta thank the county executive. I gotta thank the commissioner of the Department of Social Service, Marie Cannon, for their foresight and the community effort to give this money so these parents could have this for free. Parents, you do not have to pay for this. There's no investment. They have fronted all of the money for these programs around the city of Buffalo to be successful. And Sam, it's just the person I am. I want you to be at Community Cares, but there are other programs out there. And we have to say, because we can't reach all of it's 18,000 students in the city of Buffalo that fall K through 8 right now.
Right.
18,000. K through 8 students
and
in the city of Buffalo. We only can serve 2,500.
Right. So let's talk about, because right now I want to push Community Cares first, right?
Okay. I know.
And I'm being sincere about that, because it ain't just about having your child a place to go. It's also having a place to go where they're going to actually progress academically. Somebody had, like you said, there's a curriculum in place to where we talk about supporting these children, and the staff are prepared to do it. Like you said,
I challenge anybody else who's doing virtual learning support. Show me your model.
So
the model makes a difference, because the Bible says if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
No question about it. You talked about last week hubs. So talk about the hub model, because you said this ain't on every side of the town, right?
Right.
It's in the hubs. Where are the hubs at? Where are the locations at, and why do you have a hub model?
Because of the transiency of our people, we have hubs in Black Rock Riverside, we have hubs in South Buffalo, we have hubs in the Central Park area, we have hubs and along the major city lines in Buffalo. So our locations are Seneca Street, East Street, Hurdle Street, East Delavan Street, Southampton Street, Albany, which covers the west side. The 2 new sites that we added, they'll be on the webpage tomorrow. The Community Cares at Jehovah Jireh, which is right off the 190 down on the west side of Buffalo. Parents have been dying for a program down there. And then Reach Academy has just been approved to be a community care
That's
hub.
15 Ash Street.
Yeah, 115 Ash Street.
115
yeah.
Ash Street. So
So
what are the
we're
addresses?
downtown.
What are the
we're west-
addresses of the other ones you just named? I mean,
150. Now he gonna really challenge me.
we can
115
put it
Ash
up.
Street.
I could just read it right off this.
Yeah, read it off the list,
Post,
Sam.
post
I'll talk while you
post-
pull it up. Yeah,
post
read it off the
post a flyer.
Because I've been living, breathing this. Anybody who knows me, this has been a 20. Because again, we had to get all of this in the matter of just a couple of weeks. Once we were preparing for it, but then it's hard to prepare for something without dollars. And the dollars still had to come. We had investors who came in who saw this. We have benefactors. Let me not call, because they're not looking for anything back. We literally had people from the community, and they said never mention their name, but you know who you are. They told me they'd be watching tonight. Thank you for what you've done for Community Cares. Thank you, because Sam, we created this company from scratch.
Wow.
This is not my child development centers, because we didn't want to be inhibited by licenses. These are single purpose programs.
Right.
Here's the biggest point while you're looking up the address.
And I have the addresses here when we ready.
got them, they're all faith-based organizations.
Wow.
That are already doing the work in the community. So not only are they going to get quality, curriculum-based, model-driven virtual learning support, they're also going to get the wraparound care of those faith-based organizations.
And that's
because we have a clothing drive already started by Harvest House. I got to shout out Sister Carol at Harvest House. She's phenomenal.
So Harvest House is one of the sites, 1782 Seneca Street.
1782 Seneca Street. Harvest House is phenomenal. Renovation Church, Pastor Brick, phenomenal.
567 Hurdle Avenue.
He has a food pantry and clothing pantry set up that he's going to help kids with. Greater Works Christian Fellowship. That's my
At
home church.
210 Southampton
210
Street.
Southampton. So the second exciting news is we always have a food pantry, but we just signed a deal with another project that's going on through Erie County where all of our families are going to receive boxes of food every week.
Wow.
All the families
All
in
the families that
program.
are registered in my program are going to receive boxes of food.
In addition to
the virtual learning support.
No, in addition to, you said you feed them every day anyway.
We feed the kids every day.
And then they go
But
get a box of food.
we're sending food home with the families.
Wow.
Oh, man.
And you
We
get
eliminate
groceries.
obstacles.
Your child get education, and you coming home with groceries.
They come home with groceries, boxes of groceries.
And so let me get these other. There's the Northgate Christian Community at 410 East Street. There's Prince of Peace Christian Church at 190 Albany Street. There's Good Samaritan Church of God in Christ at 261 Cleveland Drive, and there's Mount Olive Baptist Church at 701 East Delavan Avenue.
Can I say something? Earlier, Sam, you said if a parent needs this, they should, get involved, call, go to the website. I would say most parents need this.
Yeah.
Most caregivers, most guardians, because a lot of our community don't know how bad their kid is falling behind. They didn't know before the pandemic, and they have no clue right now. So this is like the safety net. This is the opportunity, for families to be able to get their kids not just back on track, caught up, and some of them going to even go ahead of the game. Some of them going to be advanced. So, look, if your kid is sitting at home and you think they learning because they logging in and you just leaving them in their room by themselves, that's a bad plan.
It's not happening.
You know what I mean? So
It's not happening.
To have professional coaches, to have educator at the top, just knowing how to do this and supporting what BPS is already doing. So it's not like we try to do something separate. It's supporting and lifting up what they're doing. This is an incredible collaboration, and you giving the parents something, and it's jobs out here for people.
Jobs. We still have jobs available. Go on our website, ccpbuffalo.org.
Full-time jobs.
Full-time jobs, paying a great wage, $15 to $25 an hour.
Certification, They need to be certified?
They don't need to be certified.
Wow.
Come get the training from us. Learn how to engage. Learn how
Paid
to
training?
encourage. paid training.
Come on.
Learn how to engage, learn how to encourage, and learn how to empower. Those are the 3 E's of CCP. We engage students, we encourage them that they can do it, and then we empower them to do it themselves. And these kids are coming. The kids are having a better, because we all woe for the parent. Some of these kids are breathing a breath of fresh air coming to our
No,
virtual support
I
center.
hear them already. I mean,
Yeah.
without even seeing it, they so tired of being locked up at the house. They be able to go out and be with other kids. It's like they screaming. I know.
Pastor, do we have to go home? Please. I'd be like, take this food. Go ahead. You can come back tomorrow. So, again, the obstacles are there. But like we said last week, I'm not a person who's going to sit around and say, woe is me. Let's get up. Let's come together as a community. And like Duncan said, see, I love being with him because he has that foresight. I like people who see. The governor of the state of New York, if he remains the governor of the state of New York after this upcoming presidential election, if he remains the governor, he's already said several times that this might be a model that we're going to go to in New York State.
But
He said, let me tell you. I'll tell you exactly what he said. I was watching it, and I'm like, ooh. I'm watching the guy. I'm sorry, brother.
Go ahead.
I was watching him, and he said, he was doing one of his, briefings, and he said, why do we still have school buildings?
Wow.
He said this months ago. He said,
He did. He
he
said it.
why do we still have school buildings?
He said it.
Listen.
He said we need to reimagine how we do this.
And listen, and we can do that. I mean, literally, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about the fact that we can mobilize parents about how to take advantage of an opportunity, especially if you got competent leadership who have a model that you can go and you can show that it has already worked, and we can figure this out. We can go figure out the political side of this.
And that's not to devalue teachers because
teachers are teaching this.
The
And you're
teachers
a
are
teacher.
teaching. I'm a teacher.
Exactly.
All my friends are teachers. I
That's
don't want
right.
them to see this and be like, wait, he trying to get us fired?
No.
I'm trying to give our kids the best opportunity they can get.
And the teacher's still teaching, though.
The
And
teacher
at
is
the end of the
still
day,
teaching.
This is not about the teacher. This is about the student. So it ain't anti-teacher because you need a teacher to teach a student. But at the end of the day, what I love about what you said, that this is student-centered.
It's student-centered.
We measure the outcome we get with students. It's because we cannot pretend. I went back and I watched the show closely last week. I love what you said that, listen, you are a problem solver, but in order to solve a problem, you got to admit that there is a problem. You got to admit that 75% of our kids are not reading, writing, doing math on grade level.
75%.
And so we can't keep doing that. We can't go back after COVID and go back to that. We got to go back to something better. You know what I'm saying? And here's an example. Here's a pilot project where we have proven that something is better. And if you got progressive people like the governor, you got a good working model. And here's the best part. Community, listen to this. You know what I'm saying? People talk about what the church is not doing. Look at the church stepping up in our community. It's the institution in our community that all through the time that we've been in this country has been the backbone for how we was able to overcome anything we ever come. It has been the church that has been the cornerstone of that. And here it is, they stepping up. Daycare come out of the church. After school program come out of the church.
School come out of the church.
For us,
School
ain't
come
no
out of the
question
church.
about that. For us, that's where it came out of.
And we gotta. Y'all getting all hype. For a long time we had an issue with teacher diversity, right? Almost 90% of our teachers in BPS are white. 70% of them live in the suburbs. But 80% of our kids is black and Hispanic. So there's this huge cultural divide, cultural disconnect. Kids don't see themselves in authority or in knowledge or in the lens.
At our program, they do.
But at a program like this that's in the community, in the churches, you got some black scholarship coaches. That's what they call it. You got
scholar coaches.
Do you have some black scholar coaches there?
All black and Hispanic.
Oh, come on.
All black and Hispanic.
So
not that we discriminate against anybody else.
Yeah.
If there's people who want to help our kids and follow our model, they could come. But this is a black and brown venture.
So it's black and brown success coaches around these kids every day.
Every day.
Every day they
The
get somebody know their name. Somebody
it's
care
not just
about
the
them.
coaches, the administration, the executive director, the assistant directors, all black and brown, all men and women. I have a team of men. Because I know one of your platforms is the lack of men in the school. That's what I was going to say earlier. Mm-hmm. This is a way to get men back engaged in school because a lot of black and Hispanic men are not going to go to a 4-year college to get a degree to be a teacher. They can, but here's this. What if we make them coaches? Because I told you about my most influential person I found out after his passing at his funeral, Kenny Berry. was not a certified teacher
He might as well been. You know what I'm
in the Buffalo Public
That's right.
Schools. But when I think about effective teachers, I
No
gotta
question.
shout out Karima Amin.
That's right.
That was my 7th and 8th grade homeroom and English teacher. I was so blessed by God to have her. But when I think about the next influential person in my life, it was Kenny Berry.
That's right.
Matter of fact, that's why I'm a history teacher, because he used to make me memorize the preamble.
Wow.
He made me memorize the preamble. He made me memorize the Declaration of Independence.
And he was a mentor all across the board. Whether it was sports, whether it was music, whether it was academics.
He was a coach.
He was the whole thing. But here's the point. And you know what? I'm gonna calm myself down to make this right, because what this is solutions. This is win, win, win. All the issues that we have historically talked about, we can't find minority teachers. We can't, figure out a way to get these kids to be able to read and write and do a math on grade level because they poor and they coming out of poor environment.
The parents don't care.
So here it is. What we got is solutions and more solutions. So that's what, and we got solutions from an institution that's stable in our community. You know what I'm saying? And from leadership that's stable in our community, men and women, people of color. See, this is the kind of thing that we as a community have to get behind. We have to get behind it with everything we got, because our children's future is dependent on it. You know what I'm saying? And this is a solution.
This is a solution. And Sam, we had 17 churches. 17 churches have stepped up, and they were ready to go. They were and these weren't small churches either. These were bigger churches, but through the process of filtering out and a level playing field, which we followed the process, they got us down to this 9. But and it's not a shameless plug. Family, listen to me. The church has been in the community and has been the cornerstone of the community throughout history. Throughout every change and transition, every revolution or revelation, the church has been there.
That's right. Every movement.
To be stable to the community, to stabilize the transition, to stabilize the community. We have churches that have stepped up in the city of Buffalo. Again, we just live in this 2020, this crazy 2020, you might call it. But what we're looking at it as is an opportunity for us to reinvent ourselves and make the church the cornerstone, because somehow it got taken away from being the cornerstone of the community. We're still the cornerstone, but the attention got drawn away from the church because of bad practices on both sides, people in church and people outside the church. But again, I'm tired of having funerals at my church.
Amen.
I want to have more weddings.
Amen.
And this is an opportunity to build community. Mm-hmm. This is an opportunity to build community, and we're going to push this. I'm telling you, we're pushing this up to the governor's office, because if there's certain people, you should have an option. Them suburban schools that you mentioned earlier, they all had an option. You could either come to school,
that's right,
or you could be hybrid,
that's right,
or you can do virtual.
That's right.
They had an option.
All three.
What is our option in Buffalo?
It's all remote. There ain't no option in Buffalo.
There's no options.
It's all remote.
We got to start taking our options back.
That's right. No question.
You get
about
options on everything. We get more options at McDonald's if you go from the corner of Utica and Main to the corner of Main and High Street. You got 8 different eating options.
Wow.
In food. But we don't even give our kids options.
That's it.
It's driven by the system.
But options is something that's a result of demands made by parents, demands made by taxpayers. You have to make a demand on a system to provide you an option.
Or you break down the system.
In this particular case, what we have been advocating for from day one is the empowerment of parents to be able to have those options and having those options to be able to create a better future that we envision. We have to have the vision. We have to begin with an end in mind of all of our children getting a quality education. Then we have to make choices and decisions on what to get us there. What we've been doing is reacting to what other people have been doing to us or for us, but not with us. You know what I'm saying? This is a game changer. I mean, and you're going to see, because one of the first objective we got to do is fill up those spots. I mean, we can't do if we got to go get we got to go get the kids. We got to fill up those spots. So we the parents, we're going to put up a commercial. We're going to chop some of this stuff up, and we're going to start putting out commercials. We're going to boost them on Facebook, and we're going to flood everywhere we can flood to make sure parents know about this option. All right. So just so we can be real clear, give all the options again, the program, the locations, and what parents need to do so that we got that crystal clear. So for people listening, they can, be able to take advantage of it.
First of all, it's a free program, parents. You don't have to be working. What you have to be is in need of help, and we're here to help you. You have 210 Southampton Street, 190 Albany Street, 115 Ash Street. I 701 East Delavan. We'll make sure you go to ccpbuffalo.org. Email us.
But do they go directly to the site if they want to sign up, or do they go?
You go directly to the site. You just call first.
Okay, got you.
All sites are open, but you have to make an appointment. These are the guidelines by the state and the Erie County Health Department.
So they just go to the website to get the number.
The phone number is 716. We gave the phone number 447. Give it one more time, 716-447-5872. And just say, I'd like to make an appointment to come see a learning hub, either in your community or outside your community. Come see a Community Cares Learning Hub. Come see the love that you feel from the staff. And every staff member at every site, I strategically place staff members at every site that worked in our summer program. They can articulate and narrate to you the importance of the things that we did in the summer for the success of your child in the fall.
You got Spanish speaking sites?
We have bilingual sites. 3 of our sites are bilingual.
Wow.
They're ran by one Hispanic gentleman, and the other 2 are 2 Hispanic ladies.
Wow.
And they're both bilingual.
And in addition to this program being free, there's also food provided for the kids every day.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Wow.
And then at the end of each week, or at some point each week, they also are going to get a box of food, you said?
They're going to get a box of food every week.
To take home for the family.
To take home.
For the whole family.
I mean real food, like real food.
Produce.
Yes, produce, fresh food.
Oh, great.
Fresh apples, onions, carrots. It's a beautiful thing.
Solutions, everybody. Let me just say what the 8 locations are. Well, it's 9 locations now.
9.
So Renovation Church at 567 Hurdle Avenue. Again, the number that you want to call before you don't want to just show up at Renovation. You want to call 447-5872, and then you will set up an appointment to go visit Renovation Church. And I know, Reverend Breck over there, wonderful church and doing great things in this community. Then they have Northgate Christian Community at 410 East Street. And you can, again, I want to repeat the number that you got to call. You don't just show up. 447-5872. Then you have Prince of Peace Christian Church at 190 Albany Avenue. You have Good Samaritan Church of God in Christ at 261 Cleveland Drive. You have Harvest House at 1782 Seneca Street. You have Greater Works Christian Fellowship at 210 South Hampton Street, where Pastor Donaldson, that's his church. And then we have Mount Olive Baptist Church at 701 East Delavan Avenue. So those are all the sites. There are 2 additional sites.
The Community Church of Jehovah Jireh on Virginia Street, and Little Workers Child Development Center at Reach Academy.
Right. So that's at 115 Ash Street in downtown Buffalo, or near downtown Buffalo. So we the whole city is covered, and especially, this is because transportation is not provided. So you have to, get your child to and from there. So you want to look for something close to your house if you can. And so they strategically located so they're in hubs and communities where parents can get to them. You know what I'm saying? That was intentional.
Transportation has been a huge problem in the city of Buffalo for the last 4 years. First of all, it's a monopoly by First Student. I ain't caring about being hurt by First Student. They have a monopoly.
And they have a monopoly, and if anybody listens to the show, you know that they're not able to, service all the kids. Last year, they were leaving kids on bus stops.
Not picking up kids.
That's right.
It was horrible. So we've eliminated that. We need to go back to the community. We need to start valuing the community. How would it be if we, instead of having to leave communities to get to better communities, what if we just make the communities we are in better?
There you go.
And that's what Community Cares does.
And that's what real leadership does.
We want to make the community we're in. 210 Southampton is my second home. All the neighbors on the street know me. They know my vehicle. We've been there 12 years, 15 years pastoring Greater Works, 12 years. That building on Southampton, in the midst of Cold Spring, in the midst of all of these other areas, Fruit Belt, That building has never been touched once.
Wow.
Never been broken into, never experienced any type of thing detriment from the community, because the community know we care. We have a
fabric, it's part of
food
the fabric of
pantry.
the community.
It's the fabric of the community. When we came and we rebuilt that church and made that church beautiful, people started buying homes on Southampton. This wasn't gentrification. Southampton, you'll see new homes, but that's not gentrification. Those are black people owning those homes.
Wow.
Doing their gardens, mowing each other's lawn. Why? Because they would see me out in the summer mowing the neighbors in the street lawn. They'd say, "Who are you?" I say, "Oh, I pastor the church right here." "What you doing cutting the grass?" "Because this is my community,
There we go.
and I care." And all of our partners care about the communities that they're in. South Buffalo, Riverside, Black Rock, Central Park. All of our partners care about the community they're in. Our people don't have to leave our community to have value. We can value our community and make it better.
Well, listen up, everybody, We the Parents. So I know we're getting down to the last couple minutes of our show, but listen, I'm hoping that when you can call We the Parents a partner. And so we want to bring you on this show whenever you have an open invitation. If it's something going on, something you want the community to know,
appreciate
you
that.
have an open invitation to the show, because we want to do the best we can to support this solution. Everything that we're talking about has been part of the solution. Anything you want to say before we could go to move to close?
I just want to thank you and Duncan, man. You got, again, we all can't fight the same fight, but I appreciate when I can see you fighting and see you fighting, and then we can fight together.
And I like it because a fight with you mean we win. You know what I'm saying? Because you clearly
I'm
play the win.
strategic.
I just before we go, I just want to tell parents, listen, if you got a grandson or granddaughter that's parenting a kid, niece or a nephew, let me tell you, they struggling. Okay, unless they are like a stay-at-home, work-from-home professional or something who's super educated and they know how to the pedagogy of educating children, they keep the schedule and the calendar. If that's not them, they are struggling with this virtual learning, especially if they got more than one child, because they got to know it's just a lot. This opportunity with the Community Cares program, it's not just like let me go drop them off so now they can get babysat and now it can help the kids. We talking about real instructional support to make sure that the kids are learning and moving towards going to college on a full ride scholarship. That's what it's all about. We want all our kids going to good colleges on full scholarships or starting a business or going to the military. Whatever they doing, we want to be prepared. This program does that. So if you're thinking, maybe I should call my granddaughter, yes, call her.
That's right.
Call her.
It's 18,000 parented kids that are eligible. We only got 2,500 seats. Call them, tell them to get one of them seats, because we can go fight for more money. If we need to get more seats, we can fight to get more seats. But you can't get more if you don't use what you got.
High school parents, listen to me. So you asked me if I had something to say. I got 30 seconds. High school parents, listen to me. The money is there. You have to advocate for it. Community Cares will help you. We have sites ready to go for high school students, for special needs students who are struggling. But you have to make the noise.
Well,
the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
We're going to make this a priority at We the Parents, and we are going to mobilize to do it. We appreciate you listening to us here at another Power 96.5 WUFO. And as we say every week, going out,